Derbyites, we are back once again for one of your favorite things on earth. It's 23 categories in 23 minutes. I have the pleasure of introducing our managing editor, Chris Beachum, once again. Isn't this exciting, Chris?
Yeah, it's exciting to end Oscar season after I started on Oscar season July 1st of last summer. So 8 or 9 months later, however long this is, it's good to be at the finish line. Although I love every week of it. I mean, it's not like I don't love it, but I get so tired of talking about the same people and the same films for months and months and months.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's high holiday. Oscar night is coming up. And of course, we've had the best coverage here at Gold Derby. So let's get straight into it, Chris. It's 23 categories in 23 minutes. We can't waste any time. Shall we start from the top? What do you think? Okay. So
you go ahead.
Go for it.
It seemed so up in the air for so long, with any one of maybe 5 movies potentially winning Best Picture, but I think everything is moved around everything. It's won everywhere it can. I don't see how, unless we get into a La La Land situation, I don't see how it can lose. And remember, on La La Land, there was only about one. This happens on any race that we see, whether it's Emmys, Oscars, Grammys. If there's one really strong front runner, the only way to take it down is if there's one clear alternative. Yeah. And there's not one clear alternative here. I've talked to a lot of voters in the last few weeks. Some of them love Top Gun. Some of them love Fabelmans. Some of them love Elvis. Some of them love Avatar, Banshees. That's the biggest news that everything could ever get, because that means it's going to win.
Yeah, I agree. Like before the PGAs, DGAs, and WGAs and SAGs, we were like, okay, maybe Top Gun can do it. It's very popular. Maybe All Quiet on the Western Front can do a BAFTAs. But we're now at the point where everyone's had their say, and it's very clear that it's everything, everywhere, all at once. And it's going to be, I think it's going to do very well on Oscar night. Let's move on. Best Director or Directors. I feel that after the DGA, I'm pretty comfortable to just go with the Daniels. What do you think?
Yeah, that one's an easy one. By the way, on our 23, we'll talk about some longer than others. The easier categories, I think we can move on. I will say on this category, we all thought it might be Steven Spielberg for a while, because it's been 25 years, 24 years.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't seem that way anymore. And I'll tell you something, I've been publishing these secret Oscar ballots the past few days. And even when people chose a different film in their #1 slot, they all chose the Daniels for director. So even people choosing a different Best Pictures are still choosing them for directing.
Yeah. I think that's pretty comfortable. Let's talk about something that's a little bit less comfortable, and that's Best Actress. Look, my view is we are not going to know what's going to happen until the moment that envelope opens, and they're either going to say Cate Blanchett or Michelle Yeoh, and I will not be surprised if it's either one. I'll be surprised if it's anyone but those two, and I'm at the moment with Michelle Yeoh. What about you?
I think this is now the second easiest acting category.
Okay.
We'll just go ahead and say supporting actor is Ke Huy Quan. Yeah, I can't imagine. We won't even talk about that one anymore. Although he is so nice. I saw him at the Spirit Awards this weekend, and he told me the same story he told on our Gold Derby Awards, which is his brother. If his brother's watching, comes to Gold Derby all the time and keeps Ke up to date on what's going on. But I think this is now the second easiest after Ke. I think it is Michelle Yeoh, and I would not be surprised at all if it's Kate. But everything I'm hearing on the ground and the fact that Michelle won at SAG makes me feel like it's Michelle.
I feel like the momentum has shifted over the last few weeks and then during Oscar voting, and I think, it's probably time for Michelle Yeoh to take it. So we've said supporting actor is Ke Huy Quan. That's a given. We're not going to give that much more time. Sorry, I'm looking forward to seeing him win. But we need to talk about Best Actor, because that's given me so much heartburn. Because at the moment, I've got Austin Butler in there just as a placeholder. I'm not confident at all. Brendan Fraser is obviously one of the front runners, but Chris, honestly, I'm feeling like just going with Colin Farrell. I really am. Tariq Khan wrote a beautiful article on Gold Derby today about that, and I thought that was quite persuasive. I've already been thinking about Colin Farrell. What about you?
No, you're wrong on that one.
Why?
What was Colin Farrell's easiest victory supposedly going to be the whole season?
Yeah, BAFTA.
BAFTA, and he couldn't win BAFTA. It's not happening. He's the nicest guy in the world. This is Austin versus Brendan. Every week I switch. I'm only going Brendan because he won SAG, and I know SAG isn't 100% right. We'll get to that in a moment on supporting actress. But I thought Brendan's toughest challenge was going to be getting over the fact that SAG is 200,000 voters. And I kept hearing over and over and over again, the release strategy was not benefiting the whale. All 200,000 weren't going to get to see it. And even, the Motion Picture Academy, if everybody votes, it's like 9,000 people. And it's such a limited group of people that everybody sees everything that they want to see. Yeah. SAG, I didn't think that going in. For Brendan to win there, I thought was a big step. It was like everybody had access to Elvis. Everybody had access to Austin for 6 months before they voted on SAG, and they still went with Brendan. I'm going back to Brendan also because when I left the theater just a couple of days ago, I reminded myself when I left the theater after seeing The Whale, I said, Brendan's winning and there's nobody that can beat him. And I had already seen Austin, months earlier. So I have to go back to my initial reactions to when I saw both performances and think that Brendan's going to take this.
That's so interesting because when I saw Elvis, I've seen all of these and I love them all. When I saw Elvis, I just thought the same thing. I thought there's no way that Austin Butler can be denied. So we'll see. I think I'm going to.
And I don't even know if I was a voter. I don't know who I would choose between the two of them. I really, they're both engrossing, character development kind of roles that are, sink your teeth into and just disappear into a different person. And normally that kind of performance wins. And here you got two of them. I would not be surprised with either one. I wouldn't be stunned with Colin because he's had more of the career that they followed. Brendan is a comeback, but not really a comeback from the type of roles that win Oscars. Colin should have been in Bruges. He should have been in, other times. So anyway, I think it's Brendan, but that's my third most difficult. Now that takes us to supporting actress, and I truly don't know what to do. Talk me into something.
So supporting actress is an absolute freaking nightmare because for a while it was Angela Bassett. Okay, she was out front. Then BAFTA happened and Kerry Condon won, and that's, okay, so now she's also got a chance. And then Jamie Lee Curtis won at SAG. And so it's between those three. I can see any of those three winning, but at this moment, I think I'm going to stick to my guns. I just have a sense that Jamie Lee Curtis can do it. I feel like this movie is so damn popular with the Academy, or with the industry, I should say. I think it's going to be popular with the Academy. I don't think they care about MCU films. Kerry Condon could do it because I don't think Banshees can go home empty-handed. I think it's a pretty popular film. But at this point in time, I think Jamie Lee Curtis has a lot of social capital in Hollywood. She's beloved. And I think she's great in this movie. So I'm going with her. That means I'm going for 3 Everything Everywhere All at Once actors out of 4 to win. That's crazy. I know that. But I just don't see anyone else overtaking Jamie Lee. What do you think at this point?
Yeah, like I said, I could be talked into anything at this point. I will say a couple of things that have me wondering. People I know you'll put in the comments, and I've done 5 award shows in the past 2 days, so I'm very bleary-eyed. I can't remember all my stats like I typically can. Has a movie ever won Best Picture and 3 acting awards? Because I don't think it has. If it has, it was like in the 20s or 30s. Something like Network won 3 acting awards, but didn't even win Best Picture.
Yeah.
So it really makes me wonder about Jamie Lee, and it also makes me wonder even if it's just a little bit, the vote splitting with Stephanie, who had a bigger role in that same movie. Jamie Lee, just like I said earlier, what was Colin's easiest win supposed to be the whole season, and he didn't. It was BAFTA, his home territory. Jamie Lee should have easily won the Globe. And I know they don't vote for the Oscars, but they love Hollywood royalty. They love children of Hollywood stars.
Yeah.
That was the group that I thought above all would give Jamie Lee. I wonder if Jamie Lee is just a SAG thing with her parents being actors, because other than that, she and Angela Bassett have the same narrative. Normally you want to go into a race with a narrative, like Key's narrative is the comeback. Brendan and Austin's narrative, again shared, is disappearing into a role, which they've loved, like with Gary Oldman and Meryl Streep lately and people like that. So Angela Bassett, beloved forever. Jamie Lee Curtis worked with everybody, beloved forever. They have sort of the same narrative. What makes me hesitant on Angela, though, is it's a Marvel movie, and we haven't seen that win other than Villains with Heath Ledger. It wasn't Marvel, but DC. Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix playing the Joker. So right at this second, and anybody can check our picks, we're taping on Monday, 6 days before the Oscars. I'm going with Angela Bassett. I could see Carrie Condon. If the two narratives split votes and Jamie gets a little bit of a split vote on her movie, Carrie Condon could slip right through here and BAFTA. Also, I'm very afraid of SAG going 4 for 4. It does happen, but when it happens like everybody knows it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's one of those years where all 4 just steamroll everybody the whole way through. I don't know that I think SAG is going to be right on all 4.
Yeah. Well, I think to that I would say, hence my Austin Butler prediction, and also stranger things have happened and stats are meant to be broken, I suppose, and Everything Everywhere could certainly take 3 acting prizes. It wouldn't completely shock me. Let's see what happens. It's really, look, nobody knows that category. If anyone's suggesting they do, they're crazy. Let's move on. We're running out of time. So, adapted screenplay. Women Talking won the WGA. It won the Scripter. It's done quite well. It's a Best Picture nominee. So is All Quiet on the Western Front, and so is Top Gun Maverick. What do you think?
I do believe it's Women Talking. I think the precedent here would be Emerald Fennell winning, somebody that's just as well known as that actress, solo writing credit, directs the movie. That's sort of my feeling. And when I saw All Quiet, my first thought was, my 5th or 6th thought down the line was screenplay. It wasn't, you're thinking visuals, you're thinking directing, you're thinking sound, you're thinking all these other things before you get to screenplay. And Women Talking has the word talking in there. So I think that, I just think that's it.
It's such a beautiful adaptation, and it's so much about the dialogue as well. So I'm pretty confident there, although Top Gun Maverick could be a spoiler and could be a real surprise, and I would love to see that too. Original is really tough because Everything Everywhere All at Once won the WGA. It seems like it's steamrolling through everything. I just am not convinced that Everything Everywhere is going to sweep the entire Oscar night, and I feel like this is where they can reward Banshees or Tar. And I've been switching between the two, actually. And for now, I think I'm going to stick with Banshees. What about you?
Well, you're a little biased there. That was your favorite movie of the year.
Correct.
Did Martin McDonagh win for 3 Billboards? Has he ever won an Oscar?
No. Not for his writing or directing, no.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, a short. No, going back to the secret ballots, and we interviewed 8 people. I mean, it's 8 people out of 8,000, so come on. But I do listen to things, and it's not what they're telling me they did or they chose. It's what they're saying in their comments that really grabs me. And I had one voter that voted for Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, and he still voted for Everything Everywhere for screenplay. So I think that's a done deal. And what several told me, remember when we get to some of these categories, it's most visual effects, it's most production design, it's most makeup. And I kept hearing over and over and over and over again, Everything Everywhere is the most original screenplay of the year.
Right. We'll see. I think that's a category that's an influx. I'm looking forward to seeing who wins that one. I would love to see Tar win, by the way. I don't want that to go home empty-handed. Cinematography, speaking of Tar, this is the one category where I'm really going out on a limb, because we know that there are always surprises, and our consensus picks are never actually what happens completely. I feel like this is where if they're paying attention, that the cinematography in Tar, Florian Hofmeister, is absolutely exceptional. And I feel like that is, I'm just predicting it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm predicting Tar to win cinematography. What about you?
I've got All Quiet, but the Elvis win with the Guild makes me think, and I would love to see a woman finally win this category.
Too. And Aussie,
so that would
by
not,
the way.
Yeah, I think it's All Quiet though.
Okay.
War movies. When I was thinking about this category over the years, if they're outdoors, they tend to win more than if they're indoors. It's like you get more credit for the darkness and the sunsets and the those types of shots than the indoors stuff. And that's why I think All Quiet's going to win here.
All right, it's interesting. Costume design. Look, this one's not easy either. I'm actually going on a slight limb here as well. I'm going for Everything Everywhere All at Once. What about you?
Got that in 5th place.
Wow.
5th place. And they love that movie, obviously. And remember, on the Oscars, it's everybody voting on every category. So your cinematographers are voting for costume design, and your visual effects people. I do think it's Elvis. With Elvis himself, you always felt like the costumes were part of the deal. I had Black Panther forever because Ruth won last time for Black Panther, but she did not win the Guild this time. And that makes me really wonder. And she's on the board of governors, and I just thought she would be a slam dunk to win again. So I moved Elvis up to number 1.
Yeah, I'd love to see Catherine Martin win yet another Oscar. She's got 4 at the moment. She's the most Oscar-winning Australian alive. Best film editing. Look, for many months thought it was going to be Top Gun Maverick, but I'm pretty convinced that Everything Everywhere All at Once is winning editing. It won even at BAFTA, where they didn't even like that movie.
Yeah,
what about you?
The only win there, right?
Right.
Yeah, Everything Everywhere. I don't think we have to say very much. It's the whole movie's reliant on the editing.
Yeah. Makeup and hairstyling, there's sometimes a correlation between an acting prize and makeup. So there could be The Whale, it could be Elvis. I think the makeup in All Quiet on the Western Front is really inventive. And I love the makeup in The Batman, where they transformed Colin Farrell into the Penguin. And of course, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. This one's a tough category. I have been going with All Quiet throughout the whole season, but I have switched to Elvis. I think that's going to go along with the Austin Butler win. What do you think?
Well, either one of us is going to get 2 right or 2 wrong, because I do believe I have Brendan, remember, so I've got Brendan and The Whale winning here, and you've got Austin and the Elvis winning here, which is how it's going to correlate. It's going to be those 2 combined, just like last year, Jessica Chastain and Tammy Faye won. Now, how many minutes do we have left? We
have 5 minutes, so we'll be all right. Production design, that's a tough one as well. I've had Babylon forever, but I'm not convinced with Babylon anymore. I'm going with Elvis there. What about you?
I'm sticking with Babylon. It's the opening sequence alone up at the mansion. Well, right after I guess it'd be the second sequence up at the mansion on the hill. It's pretty it's most production design. Same with score. The score is, I could see it going to All Quiet. Yeah. My favorite score was the Banshees, actually, your movie. But Justin Hurwitz is almost like another performer in this movie, and you actually have the band on screen a lot. So I think it's most score and all kinds of different music in the score. I think he's about to win his 3rd Oscar.
You should have won First Man, but anyway, I agree that's a beautiful score. I'm still going with All Quiet there. I think Volker Bertelmann will finally win.
We disagree on a lot.
We do
more than normal.
This is this year's Oscars. I think it's just so chaotic, and we love chaos. Well, I love chaos. I know you don't love chaos.
I do not. I like to be right.
I know. That's not so interesting to me. I just love the surprises. Now, best song, everyone's going with Natu Natu, but I think you can actually make a case for the song from Everything Everywhere and even the Rihanna song. What do you think?
I've got RRR here, and that couple that the two men that wrote that have been all over the circuit. I talked to them at the Spirit Awards Saturday, and they weren't even there's no song category there, so they're out working it, and I think that's going to be one of the most fun segments on the entire ceremony when that gets performed.
I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. I think
we can fly through the next 3 or 4, right?
Visual effects is Avatar. That's the most locked of the night. Animated feature is Pinocchio, another really locked category. Sound, I don't know. It's Top Gun versus Avatar versus All Quiet for me. What do you think?
I think it's Top Gun. I think that's where it makes its one win for the night.
Its one win, and then
although it could win editing, I think it wins here in sound.
Yeah, documentary feature.
Whew. Look, everybody watching this, and the dozens of you, whatever I had picked for documentary at any award show, something else has won, and then I'll switch to whatever's on the current winning track, and it'll lose, and something else will win. So I think it's Navalny versus Fire of Love, and I went with Navalny.
So did I. I think it's just a more timely piece, and it's actually a beautiful, amazing film. An international film, I think, is All Quiet. I don't think there's much of a mystery there.
It's a great group of 5 films, though. That's as good a foreign language categories we've had in a long time, but All Quiet is really dominant there.
Yeah. Then we have the 3 shorts categories. For animated shorts, I'm going with Ice Merchants, because I just listened to Joyce Eng. So what about you?
No, it's The Boy, the Mole, and everything else.
You think?
Yeah.
Even though it's half an hour long, it's long.
They have put more into that campaign. I'm talking about not just about money, but effort.
Yeah.
Than any feature-length movie this year, and I just don't think they're going to go home empty-handed.
Okay, so what about documentary short?
Well, and by the way, Joyce is the one to listen to, because she almost always gets 3 out of 3, and I'll get like 1 out of 3. I'm going Elephant Whisperers. Yeah. Although the movie that I keep hearing people talk about is Stranger at the Gate.
Same.
And then I'm going Irish Goodbye. Forever I had Alfonso Cuarón picking up another Oscar, but I just don't feel that anymore. And obviously their names aren't on the ballot. Irish Goodbye won at BAFTA. It's going to be, wouldn't that be interesting if that was the Irish movie that wins?
I know.
The other one wins nothing.
I think Irish Goodbye, it's funny, it's in English, which helps it. Elephant Whisperers or Stranger at the Gate. I think I'll go with Stranger at the Gate. I want to see Malala up on stage. And guess what, Chris? We have just hit the 23-minute mark. We did very well.
Well, whenever you're watching this, I think we'll publish on Thursday. You've got just a couple of days, get in and make all your Oscar predictions, 23 categories. We had only had 1 perfect person before last year in 20 years. And last year there were 8. So this is not going to be that kind of night.
No, I think this is going to be a really chaotic night, and I'm here for it. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Stick with Gold Derby. You know, this is where it's all happening. We've got some amazing stuff happening on Oscar Day, Oscar night itself. We'll see you then. Thanks for joining us.